Hey everybody, this is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to a new painting video. Right now I'm going to be painting Crossbones. Crossbones is from the Marvel Crisis Protocol game, 32 millimeter. This guy is mean looking. He's mostly flesh for his arms and his neck, but then the rest of his suit is like blacks and grays and studs and things like that. So shouldn't take too long to paint. I'm going to move the camera down here just a little bit, and we'll get started on this one. I'm going to be using some speed paints tonight. Hopefully it focuses. There we go. I'm going to use some speed paints, and I think what I'm going to do first is do his flesh, which I'm going to use this Crusader skin, which is the speed paint. And this is where I'm going to plead with Army Painter to please offer a larger variety of flesh colors in their next. I'm not asking for 10 or 20, but maybe 2 or 3 extras, different flesh colors, because this one is just a little bit too, I don't know, I'm not really happy with it. It's okay, but I want some alternatives. So I'm going to paint his arms, and I'm going to paint his neck, and then I'll hit the rest of it with the blacks and grays and things like that. So Marvel Crisis Protocol is a very cool game. I like watching it played. I'll watch videos on YouTube of people playing it. I've gotten to watch a few games at a few cons, and I just liked the way the game played. I like that each hero or villain has this like card with their special abilities and features that you can power up things, and it really appealed to me. I showed it to my 12-year-old son, who is a big Marvel fan. He and I play a lot of Marvel games. Well, not a lot. We play Marvel Champions, which is a card game. And we play that at least once a week. And he just likes it. And so I asked him if he would be interested in doing possibly a Marvel miniatures game. He said yes. I showed him this game, and he said, ooh. And what's interesting about this game is you can play a mix of good guy and bad guy on your team, or you can just play good guys or just play bad guys. And I think that's really a cool thing about this game. I don't know yet how he and I are going to split them up, but I'm sure we will. And sorry, I'm trying to get his neck here. It's very difficult. I'm going to have to do some touch-ups where the flesh color bled into the suit. But the fact that he's interested in playing it made me happy. So I bought it, and this is I say this is the last miniature I have to paint. That's not true. I haven't finished Captain America yet. Captain America has a lot of finicky little details, and I need to get back on painting him again. He's about half done, and I think probably what I'll do is I'll do a video and finish him up, because I think if I do a video, it will sort of light a fire for me to get it done and get this game on the table. The other thing I'm really looking forward to with playing this game is I don't have a lot of terrain that is suitable to the Marvel universe, and by that I mean the comic-y, buildings and the sidewalks and the trash cans and things that are destructive. This game is it's all about the terrain. Your heroes and villains can actually use the terrain. You can pick up cars, like the Hulk can pick up a car and throw it at a bad guy. The Iron Man can blast a sign and it fall on an enemy. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with this game that that I haven't seen in other games. Most of the time terrain is just terrain, but in this game, terrain is actually meant to be used, not necessarily as a weapon, but yeah, kind of. I think that's pretty slick. So while I let his flesh dry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom and with his shoes and his pants, and I'm just going to hit him with this Gravelord Gray, which is my go-to for black. In the images online, he's mostly painted black, and it's really dark. I mean, you see a lot of silver buckles and stuff. But I have since really discovered that I like this Graveyard Gray because it's dark enough that you can pretend it's black, and it reveals a lot of detail. I mean, it just everything pops, and I think it's probably one of my favorite colors, if it's a color. I don't think that's a color, black or gray, but I guess maybe it is. It's one of the more interesting Army Painter colors that I've had real success with. It doesn't. Now, it will reactivate if you don't wait a good little bit of time, a few hours or more. I usually wait a day, but I do know that if I were to go over some of this again in Gravelord Gray, it would reactivate. It would smear and come off where I've already painted. So what I do is I try to slap this on there. I've done his whole lower half, and I try to do that and then not touch anything again for a little while, just because of that reactivation. I'm hoping that maybe once Army Painter figures out this reactivation issue, they'll go back and reformulate some of the original colors like this one, and you can buy a 2.0 of the Gravelord Gray. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to... I would assume that they could do that. I mean, at some point they're going to run out of whatever batch they mixed of Gravelord Gray and the other colors, and they would need to remix them, and hopefully they will use whatever new recipe they've developed that maybe gets rid of this reactivation issue. Although, as I understand it now, the more I'm looking into this reactivation issue, it's almost like the reactivation issue it's not that it's a defect, it's just part of what the paint is. It's water-based, and so any kind of paint that is water-based is going to have a chance of reactivating when a liquid touches it. So when you use another speed paint that's got water in it, there's a chance it could reactivate. Now, I don't understand yet what the drying period is. Like, if you wait 24 hours, why doesn't it reactivate the next time you paint it? Some do. Some people say that some of the colors do that, but in my experience, if you wait I've waited like a whole 24 hours or longer before I went back and did something. I never really had any issue with the reactivation. Now, it could just be that the colors I'm using are in that collection, because people have reported that there are colors that reactivate a bit longer after you wait than others, and I can't confirm that, but I've heard that. So I don't know. I'm willing to wait a little bit. Man, he looks cool with all this dark armor. I don't know if you can see this, but now I'm not going to leave it just like that. I'm going to hit buckles with silver, and there's some browns in there, and then there'll be some armor, like his kneecaps look like there's some steel plating and stuff like that. So definitely some areas that I'll have to pay attention to with maybe some non-speed paints, maybe some metallics. But this guy is. I don't know a lot about Crossbones. I mean, I'm not a super Marvel. I mean, I like all the Marvel superheroes. I'm more of an Iron Man guy, but I don't know a lot about Crossbones, so I don't know his backstory or anything like that. But he's pretty cool looking. I mean, I assume he's a villain. I assume, and I say that because there's a number of heroes in the box and a number of villains, and I think I've counted it right, and it's like split right down the middle. So Crossbones would have to be a villain if they do an even number of villains and good guys in the core box. Now, what's really, really cool about this game, and I'm coming to this game late, obviously, because it's been out for a while. I go to my gaming store, and there are so many villains and heroes available, like as separate purchases. Like, you can get Doctor Strange, you can get Venom, you can get, I mean, just if you name a significant hero or villain in the Marvel universe, chances are that they have a Marvel Crisis Protocol miniature. Some of the boxes have only one miniature in them. Some have two. There's one that I really like. It's now in this core box you get Spider-Man and Doc Octopus, but they have this other 2-pack of Spider-Man and Doc Octopus that you can buy separately, and they have like different poses. So if you're like really into the Doc Octopus Spider-Man fight battle scene, you would probably want to have both of those because they're very cool looking. I bought the Hulk because I like the Hulk. I figure if I'm going to play a team, I'm going to have the Hulk. And I bought him separately. He came as a separate, he didn't come in the core box. He came as a one-off buy. And I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. Wow, this guy's looking really cool. I like him. I mean, there's not a lot of color to him. There's not a lot, but I mean, once this dries, all the detail, the speed paints will get down in all the wrinkles and the lines of his uniform, and I can already tell it's not even fully dried yet, and I can already tell it's going to look really, really cool. And I can also see a lot of detail that I'm going to be able to hit, like the pistol, the knife. There's some pouches here and there. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to paint this guy a little extra and give him some extra punch rather than just this Gravelord gray. But still, kind of cool. All right, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and hit the base with the gray. Where's the gray? I use a neutral gray right here from Vallejo. I think that's a Vallejo. Yeah, I use Vallejo's neutral gray. And by the way, I'm not like, I don't just adhere to one paint company. I use them all. I have a bunch of Reaper paints. I have a lot of Army Painter paints. That's probably the one I have the most of. And I have a small collection of Citadel paints. And the reason I got the Citadel paints was, and they're mostly the contrast paints, which is their version of the speed paints. They're a slightly different formula. They're not water-based, if I understand correctly. There's something else in them that helps them dry faster. But I have some of those. I got those when Citadel released their contrast paints before anybody else came out with the idea. And I used them, and I thought, wow, these are pretty cool. Now, when Army Painter announced theirs, the reason I invested so heavily in their mega set was that the Army Painters are cheaper. I mean, I don't remember what the price was, but a bottle of the Citadel contrast paints, just a single bottle, was like real expensive compared to other paints. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, I want some speed paint. I want some of these paints that I can use to paint fast, but I don't want to pay Army Paint. I mean, I don't want to pay Games Workshop or Citadel prices. And so that's why I mainly use the Army Painters. Now, I haven't given the Vallejo has come out with theirs just recently, and I probably should buy some just to check them out. I don't do paint reviews typically. I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a professional painter, so I don't pretend to like be able to tell you, what, I don't have like the special mechanics and all the specialty things that painters do with glazes and stuff like that, and inks and washes. So I can't talk the talk, and so if I'm going to compare paints for you, it's just not going to be good. I'm not going to be able to give you what you need information-wise to help you make a decision. That's why I don't do paint reviews. I use what I use, and if I use something and it doesn't work, doesn't do what I want, then I don't use it again. And it's possible it's because I'm using it wrong, but probably not. I tend to use a color, and if I don't like it, I find something that works better for me. All right, so he's got a few details. He's got a white skeleton mask that needs to be painted on the front of his black mask there. I colored over it, but I'm gonna have to get some white paint and go over that. It's the shape of a skull, and it's very Punisher-like. He's got silver knuckles, like what do you call them? Brass knuckles, but they're silver. He's got some silver kneecaps. Looks like he's got a lot of silver on his blade and a little bit on his boots. And by the way, I'm looking at a picture offhand of the official paint job that Marvel Crisis uses. So I'm using that just to try to figure out what it is I'm going to have to do on him. But now that I'm looking at the flesh wash, it actually turned out pretty good. I mean, I'm not overly disappointed in the way his arms, the color of his arms, it looks very similar to what I'm looking in the picture. That's pretty cool. It got down in the striations of the muscles and stuff like that. You can even see veins. That's crazy. There are veins in his muscle that are popping out, and those are visible. So the last thing I want to do is paint the exterior of the mini, the ring around the base, and then I'm going to let this guy dry overnight before I add detail. I just dipped the brush in the wrong color. All right, let's see, black. So what I do is I typically, for all my Marvel protocol, I've done a gray for the street, which is the surface of the mini, of the base. I do it in flat gray, or that neutral gray, and then I go around the ring in solid black. And then after everything is all said and done and dried, I give the street surface a dark tone wash, an Army Painter dark tone wash that dirties up the street a little bit, and it makes all the miniatures sort of match. And I've done that for pretty much all of them, and I don't think I'll be changing that anytime soon. So there we go. That is Crossbones. And what I'll do is I'll take, once the paint dries really well and I add some of the silver and stuff, I'll take some close-up pictures of him and post them on my Facebook, the Tabletop Engineer Facebook group, so you can see the final image. But this is the last miniature, except, like I said, Captain America's about half done. I got to get him finished. So that's all I've got for right now. Thanks for joining me on this little short video as I paint up Crossbones. Marvel Crisis Protocol is a very, very interesting game. If you're looking for a small skirmish game that has a superhero element to it, you may want to look into it. And what's really cool is, like, any of your favorite heroes, you can get miniatures for them and play in this game. The little one-off boxes come not just with the miniature, but they also come with, like, the stat card that you'll need, and maybe some other special tokens or something that might come into play for that particular hero. But I have a feeling that when my son and I start playing this, we're going to start collecting more of the Marvel heroes. There are some, like, I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. I am definitely going to pair up Iron Man and Doctor Strange and whomever else I decide to get, but I want to pair those two up and take them into a battle against my son. So we shall see. All right, there you go. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me, and I'll be back very soon with another painting video. I hope you like these. They're not really, they're just me chatting with you briefly and just getting some painting done. It's just a good excuse to get painting. I figure if I'm going to record it and share it with the world, I may actually want to, do something other than just sit there and be a talking head. So that's why I choose to paint for you. So I'll get some photos of these when I get it all said and done. I'll get some photos of these posted so you can see the final results. And stay tuned for another painting episode very, very soon. I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 of these a week, to where I can start releasing them along with some of the game playthrough videos I do on a more regular basis. All right, that's all I got. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me. Everybody, take care.